Hello there! You know, in an age where the industry is filled with computer-generated effects, people forget that there's also a place for prosthetic makeup effects, which are able to turn a regular person into a monster, or even an animal or another race entirely. And for me, the best makeup artist in all filmdom is Rick Baker, who is probably responsible for some of the most famous prosthetic makeup work in the film business. Heavily inspired by the Universal horror films like Wolfman, Baker first got his start working as an assistant on The Exorcist. But his first major job in a Hollywood production was the 1976 remake of King Kong, in which he was not only the major makeup artist, but also was in the actual Kong suit playing the title role. After providing some work on Star Wars, Rick Baker finally broke out with John Landis's An American Werewolf in London. The famous transformation scene instantly made Rick Baker a much sought after makeup artist, as he successfully showed the main character of David turning into a werewolf on screen, all using prosthetic makeup effects to convey it. His outstanding efforts earned him the first competitive Oscar for makeup, an award he would win 5 more times in his career. An American Werewolf in London even called the attention of a certain pop singer who asked Baker and Landis to collaborate with him on a certain music video. Michael Jackson's Thriller is usually acclaimed for its music, choreography, and its ability to tell a 13-minute story within a music video, but what most catches my attention is the work that turned a group of dancers and Jackson himself into zombies. Baker's work helped give it a real horror film vibe similar to George Romero's work, and thus allows Thriller to be considered on that same level. It's no surprise that Michael Jackson also brought on board Rick Baker to work on Captain EO and Ghosts. He even worked on his fair share of comedies over the years, one of the most notable being the Steven Spielberg produced Harry and the Hendersons, featuring a Bigfoot-like creature who befriends a family with Baker's makeup allowing Kevin Peter Hall to provide the right emotional expressions on the title character. He even helped in designing the aliens for Spielberg's cancelled invasion film Night Skies, as well as those in the blockbuster Men in Black series. He also began the first in a series of collaborations with Eddie Murphy, by turning him into an old white Jewish man in Coming to America.
You listening? A man goes into a restaurant, he sits down, he's having a bowl of soup. He says to the waiter, come, taste the soup. The waiter says, is there something wrong with the soup? He says, taste the soup. He says, is there something wrong with the soup? Is the soup too hot? He says, will you taste the soup? It's wrong. Is the soup too cold? Will you just taste the soup?
This tradition of incredible transformations would later successfully turn Murphy into an entire family of overweight people in the Nutty Professor films, an aging prisoner in Life, and an Asian man in Norbit. Baker even managed the opposite effect by turning Robert Downey Jr. into an Australian actor playing an African-American sergeant in Tropic Thunder. The combination of Downey's excellent performance and Rick Baker's phenomenal makeup work actually managed to produce the impossible task of putting an actor in blackface without coming off as an offensive minstrel show.
Yeah, when we knew we were going to do this character with Robert, the first person we went to was Rick Baker, because he's just the best, I think. He was really about to get it the most realistic, to really go with the most minimalist approach, which I thought was really smart, because we're going to be out in the sun in the summer in Hawaii, and it's just going to be very hard to maintain.
Rick Baker has also done fantastic work on biopic films too. Martin Landau was turned into legendary horror actor Bela Lugosi in Tim Burton's Ed Wood, and he also created some gorilla suits for Gorillas in the Mist, the story of Dian Fossey, that was so realistic it's almost hard to tell them apart from the real animals used in the film. He also worked on the realistic ape designs for Tim Burton's adaptation of Planet of the Apes, which is probably the only aspect of the film that far surpasses the 1968 classic. Upon entering the 2000s, he turned Jim Carrey into Dr. Seuss's classic literary character the Grinch in Ron Howard's big screen adaptation. Like Eddie Murphy before him, Baker managed to make him completely unrecognizable while still allowing him to perform his comedic shtick. He also brought to life the entire populace of Whoville, who, like the Grinch, had only previously been seen in drawn or animated form.
Torture comes in, I think, are the number of days that Jim had to wear this makeup. I mean, he worked for 92 days. 92 days of coming in the morning, sitting in the makeup chair, having somebody put glue on your face, and a 2.5 hour process every morning, and an hour removal process at the end of the day is torture. I mean, for that many days, it's ridiculous. I don't know of anybody, I think, that's worn a makeup that many times.
In 2002, he went full circle, having begun his career with The Exorcist. He turned DeVay Chase into another evil girl in the American remake of The Ring, about people who die after watching a video cassette and are then killed a week later by a girl walking out of the television set. A couple of years later, he transformed Ron Perlman into demon superhero Hellboy, which wasn't the first time they worked together, as he had also turned Perlman into the title character of Beauty and the Beast almost 2 decades earlier. And just this year, he fulfilled his childhood dream by doing the makeup effects for the recent remake of The Wolfman, which he actually asked the producers of the film if he could do, only to find out that he was their first choice. Though he expressed disappointment that the transformation technique he perfected in An American Werewolf in London would be done with computers, Baker still used classic prosthetic makeup in turning Benicio del Toro into the title character. Needless to say, in this age of motion capture blue aliens, I still think that makeup effects are an important part of making somebody a monster or Martian or older person or what have you. And Rick Baker is still the best when it comes to transforming actors into their characters. And keep in mind, this is only a fraction of his filmography, as he has done so much incredible work over the years, and if I went through everything, I would be here all day. He is that good. I'll see you next time.
And no one's gonna save you.